But then he said, I love niggas, because technically I'm one. So we all in the same boat. Ain't nothing, you can't unborn yourself. You can't unborn yourself. You one of them, and so you might as well do the best you can. But this was the transition in those days. Freedom and liberation. This stuff like right here, killing of black kids, cop killers, free Freddie Lee Roberts, 14-year-old, Maurice Phillips beaten to death by Oakland pigs last year, and 15-year-old Melvin Black, and they'd on and on and on. These are just some old flyers we happen to have. The point is, the solution for us today is As-Sabiqun. Sabaka, to proceed, to go before, to be prior, to outstrip is to win in a race. As-Sabiqun technically means it could be already done. So As-Sabiqun, technically, from the dictionary, are people, they're pioneers. They're not settlers. There's difference between pioneers and settlers. Pioneers go open everything up for everybody else, right? If they're a real pioneer, they'll keep on going to the next place to open up. The settlers that come after them are the ones that benefit from their opening up. They build houses, used all the water. Okay, we are pioneers, not settlers. As-Sabiqun, our Masjid. The reason it's empty, because who needs everybody? We're not pioneers. Even though we wanted to, with schools, this, that, another, but that's somebody else's job. We have to go out in front, win the race, and face the challenges. We have to clear the breach. Right now, the Zionist Americans in the way of freedom, justice, and liberation here in the United States. So that's our job. But we have a few notes as we go along. Right here, you can see policy, kindness, compassion. Everybody, help them to move from liberators to informers. From informers to liberators. It had it a little backwards there. That's what we want to help everybody do. So we write these notes to ourselves. You got to keep. And now, a few more. Islamic Institute for Counter-Zionist American Psychological Warfare. That is December 4th, 2011. During this period of global evolution, we are reaching out to all people of goodwill to participate in the effort of global redesign toward achieving this digitally to reform even those who have worked and cooperated with Zionist American organizations as saboteurs, agent provocateurs, infiltrators, traitors. This includes misguided believers who have snitched on their own brothers and sisters. And above that, together we must develop a plan of action to work with missionary zeal to bring about a plan, a role in the Earth Liberation Movement, which aims to free the Earth from the parasitical behavior of man. We want to liberate the Earth from the human being. That seems like, but who's causing the Earth all this trouble? Who's causing all the imbalance in the world? Not the Earth. The Earth has mizan. The Earth is perfectly balanced. The Earth is self-cleansing, self-balancing, right? It's self-freeing. It cleans itself, right? When you leave it alone. But who's messing it up? The human being. So we got to liberate the Earth, this whole Earth, from the parasite behavior of the human being. That's what we got to do. Establish a non-predatory system of interconnected global harmony. Nurture and further a culture of earth-first custodianship. Understand and respect the rights of the earth, which should be treated as a living organism, which it is. The earth is a living organism. You know, when we was over on 8th Street, I was listening to the radio, and the white man made a big discovery. He said on National Public Radio, he said, we have discovered that the earth is a living organism. I said, you slow behind dumb ASSMF. You so stupid. You know what I mean? I mean, that was in, that had to be in the late 90s. He discovered that the earth was alive, a living organism. Son of a gun. You think if we put our life in that bum's hands, we'll be, hey man, we'll have all, you think you're smoky now and the earth can't clean itself? See, the earth is alive. And you see what it's doing, the earth is alive. You know, when a body gets sick, it gets fever, it gets chills, it gets all that stuff, right? Look at California, look at everything else. Some places on earth is burning up, fever, and some places shivering to death, right? The earth is alive. And if this bum, me and you keep on, the earth will burn our behind off this boy. He'll shake us off this boy. Yeah, he'll roast your behind. Yeah, the earth, see, because the earth has to eventually get back its balance. And it's alive, so it knows what the problem is. It's the human being. It's not the birds and the bees and all animals. As long as it was up to them, they had perfect balance, right? But it's this bum. The earth will target our behind. Yes, it will. This is my belief. And it's everybody else's that's got good sense. They know the earth is alive. They know. I was watching the governor on TV of that Paradise Fire in California. The man was crying physically. Why this? And he knows. You doing it, messing up the whole show. Anyway, we got to develop a non-predatory system of interconnected global harmony. It don't even sound like a Negro wrote this. Nurture and further a culture of earth-first custodianship. Yeah, it don't sound like a Negro wrote this stuff. Sound like some professor, bald-headed Euro wrote it somewhere. Or an old long-haired guy with glasses wrote it. You know what I mean? That's the way they would think. That's the thing we got going. We're going to get into a minute. Boss man see us whipping his behind over and over again, and he can't believe it. Why, that's a nigger. Why, I made niggas. They can't be doing it. That's our old card. That's why we can slap the white man, how to punk the FBI. That's what I was trying to tell the Imam, our friend. I said, don't argue with him. Clown that boy. But our friend, he doesn't have that kind of, you know what I mean? If y'all that knew him knew how he was kind of close to, you know what I mean? And it wasn't no fun. Like, it was like, this is what I do, but it ain't no, I said, no, it won't last. It won't last. You got the white man got everything. And I say, you the same one told me that everybody in your community was the police when I was down there in 83. That's what he said. I said, man, you got a beautiful community here. Everybody's saying, As-salamu alaykum. I never said I was coming from California. He said, they ain't with me. That's what he said in 83. And he knew it was right. What happened as soon as he was in prison? They're trying to take, you don't take an imam's position of property because he go to prison. You go visit him, send him what he need, and see what he's learning while he's in jail, because he got time to think. And when you got time to think, we always talk about longevity. That's the thing that we didn't have. And that's the thing that we're thankful that Allah allowed us time to think, time to reconnoiter life, get used to trends and everything. We came here and started a rebellion, and in a few years it was over. It was all in prison and run off. That's all, just like that. Why? We didn't have time to study. You couldn't go in the hills and go in the country and hide, because the Negro would call the police on you. You couldn't hide with the white folks in Montana because you'd stick out like a sore thumb. Right? So we was trapped in our own present. But now, well, what do you use then? Okay. This is going to sound like bragging. Now I'm going to close I open with Allah is Lord, Muhammad is the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? And that Islam is the way. I do that every time, so when we get into this tactics and strategy, and we're talking about that, you won't think that I'm saying I do this and I do that. We do say that, but that's to make the white man mad. And the Zionist, this boss man that hates you, the southern boss man, or even northern one too, he's bad. But the Zionists, they don't have no sense of humor. They don't have no sense of humor at all. All they are just mean Zionists. We're worth 1,000 of them, whoever they are. White folks, Christians, niggas, it don't make no difference. They probably feel they worth, one of them was worth 5,000 niggas. It's just easy. It's just, simple math, So that's what we use to whoop them with. When you're in a war, you have to study what do I have to fight with? What will give me an advantage? So every time we use, during the last 2 sessions, we use what Allah gave us. These are the 2 recent periods. Strategic management under conditions of repression. They don't think Negroes do any of that. We started it years ago. Strategic management under conditions of repression. Right? And we did it, and it worked. Very good. Under that, we had concepts. From Stalingrad to Oakland. It's a long time to tell you about Stalingrad to Oakland, but you hear about the Russians right now. You've heard about Normandy and how many Americans was lost on Omaha Beach. How many people know that the battle in World War II was the Eastern Front? That 5 out of 6 Germans who was killed by Russians. Russians lost between 27 and 28 million people. You don't hear about that over here. And then now, they got a few Nazis in Donbass and a couple areas over there in Ukraine, and you think the Russians going to sit back and say, oh, just a few Nazis, no problem. They ain't about it. And ain't nobody even missing a beat. We don't care what you say. We don't care what you do. We're not having none of that. After what they did to us, we don't care. We're not having nobody Zeke Howland around here. And they didn't kill 27 million of us. Anyway. So, psychological guerrilla warfare is another stage. Psychological guerrilla warfare. Not guerrilla warfare. Because we can't go out in the woods and hide and use guerrilla warfare to fight the system, right? So what do we use? Psychological guerrilla warfare. And the white man give you a ticket. You want to play with me like that, nigga? Good. Let's go. Psychological. I'm going to scare your black behind to death and run you crazy. That's what he's thinking. And he got the other thing that happened to him. Why? Because one thing Negroes can do, they can sell wolf tickets. They can talk. Man, when I first went from camp to the penitentiary, I was in segregation, and, you know, on the tier. And so I heard a Negro down the tier, because you came out once a day to get a shower, and the shower was right. You had to walk through